What's up, everybody? You've stepped into the current. Short stories that strike fast and leave a cold echo in your mind long after the sound fades. In the next few minutes, something unseen slips closer. A whisper behind you, a shadow that wasn't there, a thought you swear you didn't think. Don't turn around. Just listen. This is the chilling current.
Every coastal town has a house people avoid after midnight. This one sits at a corner, its second-floor window overlooking the street in total silence. The challenge is simple. Stand below the glass at 12 o'clock and look up. If the figure inside smiles, local legend says someone close to you will vanish before the next full moon. In the 1960s, a local teenager claimed he saw a woman staring back at him from the empty room. 2 weeks later, his father went out on a fishing boat and never returned. This figure has a historical record and a real name. She was a seamstress named Annie Caldwell. The haunting raises a difficult question. Why did an entire community spend decades terrified of a real woman's bedroom? The final account of the haunting comes from 1982, when a photographer documented this site shortly before its demolition. He entered the upstairs bedroom and found a space covered in years of dust. The room was empty of furniture, except for a single chair facing the window. After developing his film, the man claimed a faint reflection appeared in the glass, an elderly woman sitting in that chair, watching him from behind. The photograph has never been independently verified. The actual origin of the story lies much earlier, in a period of the town's history that had nothing to do with ghosts. To truly understand why this ghostly image endured, we have to look back to the exact day the endless waiting began. In the early 1900s, this was a community defined by the sea and the fishing industry. Annie Caldwell was a local seamstress. Neighbors remembered her as quiet, friendly, and dedicated to her work. She spent most of her adult life caring for her younger brother, Thomas. According to local records, the two were inseparable. In 1919, Thomas joined a fishing crew. They headed into open water despite a severe storm warning that had already been issued to the harbor. The boat sank. While search parties recovered the bodies of most of the crew, Thomas was never found. The absence of a body prevented a funeral and a formal goodbye. This created a situation psychologists call ambiguous loss, a specific form of grief where the lack of resolution keeps the mind in a state of permanent waiting. Annie spent months searching for answers. She visited local authorities and checked the newspapers daily, but no new information ever arrived from the sea. Eventually, she moved a chair to her upstairs window. Every evening at sunset, she took her place. She watched the street below for hours at a time. Shop owners closing up for the night would look up to see her silhouette, still and unmoving until dawn. Annie maintained this nightly vigil for 18 years. She was still performing this routine when she died in 1937, at the age of 63. For nearly 2 decades, the townspeople lived as involuntary witnesses to this mourning. The figure in the glass became a public, permanent reminder of a sister's refusal to accept a loss. After Annie's death, the house was locked and sat vacant. Yet reports of a figure in the upstairs window continued. There was a physical basis for the sightings. Annie's chair remained in its original position by the window for years after the property was abandoned. Our brains use pattern recognition to process ambiguous shapes. Shadows falling across the high-waisted chair formed a silhouette mimicking a seated person. Moonlight hitting the glass added depth. To someone expecting a face, the glare and the chair provided all the evidence needed. The apparition was an optical illusion, inadvertently maintained by a town that had been conditioned to look for a woman in that window for 20 years. Today, the house, the chair, and the window are gone. The physical triggers for the illusion have been cleared away, but the legend of the window ghost survives. It remains a part of the town's identity long after the original witness has passed. This endurance shows how deeply a real tragedy can mark a community. The memory of Annie's grief was so strong it took on a life of its own. A cursed ghost is often easier for a community to discuss than the reality of a neighbor whose heart never recovered. The monster in the window was simply a story told to manage the memory of a sister's undying love.
You've reached the end of today's current, but the chill doesn't stop here. If your pulse is still steady, you're braver than most. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and step back into the current tomorrow. Until then, stay aware, stay alert, because the next chill might already be behind you.